Number 9, Project Resource Management, Module Overview. Project resource management includes the processes to identify, acquire and manage the resources needed for the successful completion of the project. These processes help ensure that the right resources will be available to the project manager and project team at the right time and place. That's from PMBOK Guide, page 307. What we will cover in this module: 9.0 Project Resource Management Module Overview, which is this lesson. 9.1 Plan Resource Management, defining how to estimate, acquire, manage and utilise physical and team resources. 9.2 Estimate Activity Resources, estimating team resources and the type of quantities of material, equipment and supplies necessary to perform project work. 9.3 Acquire Resources, obtaining team members, facilities, equipment, materials, supplies and other resources necessary to complete project work. 9.4 Develop Team, improving competencies, team member interaction and the overall team environment to enhance project performance. 9.5 Manage Team, tracking team member performance, providing feedback, resolving issues and managing team changes to optimise project performance. 9.6 Control Resources, ensuring that the physical resources assigned and allocated to the project are available as planned, as well as monitoring the planned versus actual use of resources and performing corrective action. The first two terms we need to be clear about are physical resources, which means non-people resources, for example equipment, materials, facilities and infrastructure, and team resources or personnel, which means human resources. The PMBOK Guide says there is a distinction between the skills and competencies needed for the project manager to manage team resources versus physical resources. I would agree with this statement because I think most project managers will find it much easier to manage a pile of bricks than to manage a project team. One of the things that can make managing personnel challenging, that's a good word for it, is that the individuals have different backgrounds, training, skills, abilities, knowledge, personalities, mindsets, maturity levels, needs and so on. There will be similarities, some very strong, but just as products from similar projects are unique, your team members will be unique too. To add to the problems, unlike process work where people might work together for years, projects are temporary and so the team may have been brought together from different areas, including outside agencies and contractors, yet they have to quickly adapt to new surroundings, to a new manager and begin working closely together in a very short time. Also, team members may join and others will leave as the project progresses. This can be character building, but it can also be demotivating. Your team members may be on loan from other line managers. They may miss your usual workmates and usual location. They may not want to be in your project team, or even worse, some may also have to continue doing some of their usual everyday work at the same time. There is some overlap between project resource management and project stakeholder management. However, in terms of human resources, project resource management deals with just the stakeholders who are members of the project team. Key concepts for project resource management. The project team consists of individuals with assigned roles and responsibilities who work collectively to achieve a shared project goal. The project manager should invest suitable effort in acquiring, managing, motivating and empowering the project team. The project manager needs to find and hire or borrow the best people available. If you're going to make a silk purse, you're very much more likely to succeed if you start with silk than if you start with a size ear. Once you get them, you have to assign them the most fitting roles, give them the vision and motivate them hard to work together. I'm talking about people, not size ears, because a properly functioning team will achieve more than the sum of the work of the individuals. Sorry if that sounds a bit like Pythagoras' theorem. And you need to empower them so that they can take some of the load off your shoulders. This is not going to happen if you micromanage them or you don't trust them, and which are two sides of the same coin really. Sharing the project vision with the team and getting them involved in the planning and decision making from early in the project helps make it their project too and make them feel that they're an important part of it. It helps gain their respect, their buy-in and their loyalty. We'll be covering management and leadership in this module. Many times you will need to lead and lead by example. You need to encourage people and empower them so that they can help the whole team. Become the kind of leader that people would follow voluntarily, even if you have no title or position. That's a quote from a motivational speaker, Brian Tracy. There are times when the project manager needs to stand up and take decisions. Sometimes hard or unpopular ones, but it has to be done. And this is why you can only have one project manager on a team. You must empower people, but not to the level where they start to take over the project management and leaving everyone wondering who they're supposed to be following. An effective project manager will be both leader and manager of the project team. It's all about balance. The project manager should be aware of different aspects that influence a team, such as team environment, are they working close together or separate rooms, geographical locations of team members. There could be cultural differences, language differences, different time zones and so on. Communications among stakeholders. Is it formal, informal or mixed? Can social media be used? Organizational change management. Is it informal or is there a formal system with a CCA, a change control authority? Can anyone raise a change request or just certain team members? Internal and external policies. This is always a big issue. Cultural issues and organizational uniqueness and other factors that may alter project performance. As a leader, you need to be aware of your team members' strengths and weaknesses, their skills and their levels. You need to be proactive in this area to make sure training and mentoring are provided in time so your team is equipped for upcoming challenges. On top of that, you need to keep them motivated. As project manager, you will be a role model for your team in all areas, but particularly in ethics. A rule of thumb is never do anything with your team that you'd be afraid to see on the front page of a newspaper, because if you act unethically with your team, there's a fair chance you'll see it on the front page of a newspaper. Follow the PMI code of ethics and professional conduct. If you arrive at work late, take long lunch breaks, leave early, guess what your team is going to do, and what do you think is going to happen when you bring it to their attention? You also need to set the ground rules for your team, including how they should treat others and how they must not treat others, and you need to follow the ground rules too. But now let's look at your other resources that you have to look after, the physical resources, which are material, equipment and supplies, and any other type of resource needed for the project. Luckily, you don't have to motivate and encourage a pile of bricks. You just need a little cement and they will stick together beautifully. But you will need to select them, organize them and use them in the most efficient and effective way. And you need to make sure that a process is in place to ensure the right quantities of the right resources of the right quality are available at the right times, which is similar to the funding on your project. When you're authorized to spend company money on your project, you don't expect the financial controller to turn up at your office with a wheelbarrow full of cash. You will need to predict how much of the budget you will need at certain times, and hopefully it will be available for you when you need it, unless of course it's outside your funding level, in which case you have to get back to replanning your cost model. You'll need to manage and control resources efficiently and effectively in a project, otherwise you might start seeing risks appearing on a risk register with your name at the top of them. The PMBOK guide suggests examples of failures to manage physical resources might be failing to secure critical equipment or infrastructure on time may result in delays in the manufacturing of the final product. Ordering low quality materials may damage the quality of the product, causing a high rate of recalls or rework, and keeping too much inventory may result in high operational costs and reduce the organization's profit. keeping an unacceptably low inventory level may result in not satisfying customer demand and again reduce the organisation's profit. Trends and emerging practices in project resource management. Project management styles are shifting away from a command and control structure for managing projects and towards a more collaborative and supportive management approach that empowers teams by delegating decision making to the team members. And in fact, over the years, there's been a tendency for project teams to become more like small companies, with the project manager acting as general manager, which explains why project managers are expected to perform HR duties and to motivate and encourage your team. Trends and emerging practices for project resource management include resource management methods including lean management, just-in-time, manufacturing, Kaizen, total production maintenance, theory of constraints and other methods. All this is to make the most use of resources. Normally the project manager will adopt the system used by the organisation or project management office. Emotional intelligence. The project manager should invest in personal emotional intelligence by improving inbound, e.g. self-management and self-awareness, and outbound, e.g. relationship management competencies. It is suggested that this will make the team more effective and reduce turnover. Self-organising teams. The increase in using agile approaches mainly for the execution of IT projects has given rise to self-organising team, where the team functions with the absence of a centralised control and the project manager is really replaced by a facilitator. This strikes me as odd because I've been in information technology since before project management was popular, and all those years ago teams were self-organising, but many people decided that the way forward would be to have a project manager as a single leader and decision maker. So I guess this is a future trend. It's really a back to the future trend. Virtual teams or distributed teams. The globalization of projects has promoted the need for virtual teams that work in the same project but are not co-located on the same site. This has been made much easier by the availability of low-cost, high-bandwidth communication technology. You can read more about this in page 310 and 311 of the PMBOK Guide. Tailoring considerations. Again, the PMBOK Guide doesn't give you advice on tailoring, it just gives you a list of questions to contemplate. You can find your list of contemplation questions on page 311 of the PMBOK Guide. Consideration for agile adaptive environments. This is also on page 311. The main thrust, however, is that you need to maximise collaboration to boost productivity and innovation, and for the physical resources you need agreements for fast supply and lean methods because you're delivering small parts of deliverables all the time. That brings us to the end of Project Resource Management Module Overview. Next lesson is 9.1, Plan Resource Management. Please read the corresponding chapter in the PMBOK Guide before watching the video.